All right. Hello, everybody. KV Chief Meteorologist Hunter Williams here with you on this Thursday evening for our nightly extended forecast here at KVU Plus, YouTube Live, and all of our other streaming platforms. We'll get right into it. I think you know what I'm going to say. The basics of this forecast have not changed at all. It's going to be just classic August summertime heat for at least the next 10 days. So we'll start with that tonight. And then, like what we did last night, I've got some kind of updated climatology, statistics, some kind of cool numbers that we'll get into here in a second. But if you just want the 10-day forecast, here you go. I have bumped these numbers up a little bit. I don't think I've changed any of them more than 2 degrees, but I bumped us up tomorrow. So we're at 101 for Friday. That should be the hottest weather of this week. We ended up at 100 today. Saturday, Sunday, 99 to 98, and I think we'll kind of level off a lot of 99s as we go into most of next week. I do have 100 in the forecast for next Friday on August 15th, and look, we're within the margin of error for some of these 98, 99s to become 100. So, you know, in all honesty, we'll probably have multiple triple-digit days, but if I had to guess an exact number, that's what I'm going with for the next 10 days. Here's a live view outside on this Thursday evening from our tower cam looking out at downtown Austin. We've had some of these puffy cumulus clouds through the day today, but you know, none of those have towered up any higher and produced any rain. So it's been completely dry, and for the most part, our forecast remains that way. Both of our main reporting sites in the metro today did hit the triple digits. 100 was the high for Camp Mabry today. 100 was also the high at the airport. Remember, average is 99. We're at the hottest part of the summer here in Central Texas. The record today was 108 from back in 2003, another very hot summer. We weren't even close to that today. If you live outside of Austin, here's a look at the high temperatures for our other main reporting sites. Giddings hit 96 today, Cameron 96, Taylor 99, Georgetown hit 98, San Marcos hit 100, and we had more mid and upper 90s across the hill country today. All right, so our counter, we continue to update this. Today was our 8th day of triple-digit heat so far for 2025. To this point last year, we had 17. We went on to get 33 triple-digit days last year. Now, as you look at this, obviously, we're behind pace. We are. But remember, we have basically all of August left. We, in September, could still be getting triple-digit heat. So, you know, there's a world where, you know, we can catch up. That's not really what I have in the forecast right now, but just to show you, you know, it's not going to end at 8 degrees. I showed this graphic on our newscast at 6. This is the time of the year where it's obviously still hot, but we're about to get back into like school's about to start, about to get into like college football. The idea of a cold front is not like a completely foreign concept. It's like, okay, at some point in the relatively near future, a cold front could be possible. So here's the climatology on the average first. I'm calling this a strong cold front, but this is not our first winter front where it like drops down into the 40s or 50s, but the first front that brings at least a decrease of 10 degrees. So our first kind of like meaningful front. And on average, these are the numbers from 1950 to 2016. I need to update these. Obviously, that's like close to a decade old at this point. But the idea remains the same. It hasn't changed drastically. Average first 10-degree front is about September 17th to September 23rd. So again, if you're just getting restless, you're tired of the heat, you're like, man, when do we start getting some sort of relief at all? Around the middle to end of September is when cold fronts at least kind of like enter the conversation where we start talking about something at least a little bit more comfortable. I have some more fall climatology. I put together this graphic earlier today. So we mentioned it. We've been talking a lot about it the past couple of days. Average high this time of year is 99. It's the hottest part of the summer on average. But let's fast forward. Close your eyes and imagine this. We're at DKR or we're tailgating ahead of the game. College football is back. All right, the home opener for the Longhorns is September 6th. Hopefully 1-0, big victory over Ohio State. I'm a Penn State fan, so I think we can all agree we want Ohio State to lose. But September 6th is the home opener the following week. 30 days away, and the average high by September 6th is 94 degrees. So I guess it sounds a little bit better than 99, but we know those first couple, especially if Texas gets those those 11 a.m., or even a 2:30 kickoff, those could just be scorching hot. But 30 days from now, the average high will have dropped down to 94. This is more like it. So by Halloween, 85 days from now, I like this coincidence, 85 days from now, the average temperature in Austin is 85 for the high temperature. And then finally, we go all the way to Thanksgiving. At that point, the average high temperature in Austin is 68. I think I'd pay money to have a low temperature of 68 right now, and the high temperature is on average 68, 112 days from now, November 27th, which is Thanksgiving Day. So eventually it gets cooler around here. We are not to that part of the year yet, though. All right, current temperatures outside. Just after 7 o'clock, it's 98 in Bastrop. Austin's dropped down to 97. Lockhart has dropped down to 98. Burnet 94. Georgetown 97. A little humidity out there today, so we feel like 99. It still feels into the triple digits for many areas as you go down to the coastal plains. So Bastrop's at 103. LaGrange right now checking in at 102. Rain was pretty hard to find today. We had a little sea breeze activity down here hugging the coast. It didn't really even get close to us, though. Houston area. Looks like still a few downpours there on the west side of Houston. This is very typical down closer to the coast for this time of the year as the sea breeze comes in for the afternoon, but our evening is going to be completely dry. Still the dominant influence in our weather forecast is this big heat ridge area of high pressure, which basically is centered over New Mexico into West Texas. So we're not like directly under it, which is why it's just hot, but not like remarkably hot. But you can see the way, so here's a little upper level system here, but you can see the way the airflow is working, right? So any storms have to go up and over this ridge. So you can see things are going up and over and then down like through the southeast, which is why there's some rainy, stormy weather across parts of the deep south, but we're being kind of shielded and all that rain's being deflected away from us. For tonight, 76 in Austin, which is exactly average. It's like both the afternoons and the mornings are like literally just as average as it gets. This is the type of forecast, guys. Like every day, I'm trying to find something just different to talk about. Like yesterday, we showed the numbers from 2011. The day prior, we were showing like hottest ACLs on record. Like we're trying to find something to spice things up a little bit. 75 in Bastrop tonight. Lockhart 74. Low 70s across the hill country. Here's a closer look across town. 75 Lakeway. Round Rock 76. Georgetown 76 tonight too. For tomorrow, Friday. Yeah, it'll be Friday by 1 o'clock. 97. And then again, hottest day of the week tomorrow. I have 101 in the forecast. Remember, 102 is as hot as we have been at any point in the summer. I think we've done that 3 times now. It's possible we could hit that tomorrow. I think 101, though, is looking more likely. Here are the numbers across the hill country as the heat builds. Starting to see some bigger numbers in the hill country, too. Kingsland, 100. Burnet, 98. Llano, 99. Fredericksburg, 96. 100 in Buda, Kyle 100, San Marcos 101, Dripping Springs, Wimberley about 99, Leander, Round Rock, Pflugerville, Taylor, Georgetown, just about all of Williamson County. We'll just pencil in 100 for your Friday. And then more triple digits as we go east of I-35, Giddings 100, Lexington 99, Rockdale 99, Elgin 100, Smithville, Bastrop also 100 in the forecast for you. All right, over the weekend, I guess technically it's a little bit of a cool down. I think for all intents and purposes, we're not really going to notice a huge difference here. But 99 on Saturday, Sunday, 98 degrees. Will be dry both days, so just kind of the usual summertime stuff. Obviously, if you have outdoor stuff you're trying to do, morning's better. It's going to be hot for the afternoon, but not dodging any rain or storms. Humidity, there's enough of it that you feel it a little bit, but it's not that much with the exception of Sunday where we get where we get these big time feels like temperatures that are more than 105. So we don't have heat alerts or anything like that, but it'll be on the muggier side of things over the next 7 days. Okay, let's start to talk about the tropics a little bit. Caribbean, the Gulf, still completely quiet. We do have these 2 little areas. They're not even formally systems, but these 2 waves we've been watching. This one continues to look less and less impressive, and it's going away from the U.S., so low chance of development. Then this one also struggling a little bit today. It still has a medium chance of development, but the bottom line is, could something develop there? Yes. If it does, will it impact the United States? No. So that's not a big factor for us. But then we go into our extended tropical outlook. This hasn't changed, and the time frame hasn't changed, so they haven't updated it the past couple of days, which is why this looks familiar if you watch us every night. August 13th through the 19th, extended tropical outlook. A new potential wave could come off of Africa. And then in this zone, you see the red shading. So that's a 40% or a greater than 40%. So that's like a medium chance of some sort of tropical development as we get into next week. Now, this is an area that is very common to be watching this time of the year. I wanted to get into some of the tropical frequency here. Let me actually skip back. So we went past, I apologize, we went past August. I did not have the pause points set. Let me get that fixed for you, and we'll go into this. But here is the climatology for August. There we go. So you can see the area that I just highlighted for you is exactly, if you were just to look at climatology, what's happened in the past. That's an area that gets active as we go into August, especially late August. Now, from there, what could happen if something developed? Well, you could ride north, go north of Puerto Rico towards like the Bahamas, at which point, you'd have to watch Florida. It could recurve, it could graze the East Coast, it could recurve, stay totally out to sea. And there's paths where, you can go through the Bahamas, across South Florida and into the Gulf, at which point, we obviously would watch it. Now, if it was more southerly in that same zone, you could cross south of Puerto Rico into the northern Caribbean, right up towards like the Yucatan, Cuba, and systems that way certainly could end up in the Gulf. I keep saying this. Obviously I come in every day, I look at the extended models. I don't have like an imminent concern for anything crazy tropical wise happening in Texas, but again, just to show you the climatology, if something develops in this zone, do we need to watch it for the Gulf? Yes. But this is common. Again, we're getting into the more active part of the hurricane season. We expect some sort of tropical activity. The peak of the hurricane season is September 10th. So as we move here into September, you can see that's where things get more active in that same corridor. But again, a lot of stuff could kind of recurve and stay off the coast. We still need to watch Louisiana into southeast Texas into early September. Of course, remember Beryl, which we dealt with last year. But once we get past September, for us here in Texas, October and beyond, while still technically the hurricane season, that's not normally when we start to see impacts. The reason being, you start to get cold fronts, right, that come down and make it into the northern Gulf, and that kind of deflects stuff. And likewise, cold fronts that get off the East Coast, so stuff that develops kind of gets pushed out to sea, and it's not a big factor. So rest of August into September, we obviously watch things closely, but beyond that, that's when tropical concerns become lesser for us. And then the end of November, November 30th is the end of the Atlantic hurricane season. All right, tonight, mostly clear, 76. It will be a dry night, just quiet as can be. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, hot, 101 in the forecast for your Friday. And here's the 7-day forecast. And this continues to be one where there's just not a lot that needs to be said. 101 for Friday, Saturday 99, Sunday 98. We'll continue 98 Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week. 99. I will say I've been looking at some of the longer range data, and I'm not ready to pencil this in just yet or lock it in just yet. I am seeing some signs though as we get, okay, so let's go back to the 10-day so we have the dates on here. All right, so here's the 10-day. I'm seeing some signs in some of the model runs that as we get beyond Sunday the 17th, so as we get beyond like the end of the 7-day, that maybe as we go into that next week, 18th, 19th, 20th, that time frame, where maybe we could have some more substantial numbers. Again, we're yet to have like a 105 type number. I see potential for that as we get into the back half of August. And even that, again, guys, would not be anything crazy out of the ordinary. I expect it at some point later on this month or even early September. I expect us to get some hotter numbers than what we've seen so far. But I'm seeing the beginnings of some indications for that in the model. So there's your news flash. It's going to be hot in August. All right, guys, y'all have a good night. I will leave you with that. Next update is going to be about 3 hours from now, KVUE News at 10 o'clock, and we will continue to track this hot summertime forecast for you. Y'all have a good night, and we'll talk to you later.